let me jump to something else real quick because I got about 45 minutes. And this is another thing where I'm going to have to jump in and out because I'm not going to do the whole thing. But I thought since we're going through our like hippie Alex Jones faux lefty crowd, we ought to catch up with good old Lee Camp. Now, some of you might remember Lee Camp from about a decade ago when he was kind of sane, when his anti-war activities were legitimate and he, like I, were against the Iraq and the Afghanistan war, were against the Bush administration. And then he went and realized that, well, shit, the money drops off in that industry if you're no longer shitting on the government as a whole. If it changes hands like it does in the United States and the policy changes, what the fuck am I supposed to do if my whole industry is based on shitting on the U.S. government under the pretense that it was the actions of the Bush administration when ultimately it was against the entire fucking country. And now that I'm working on RT, I just got to talk shit about the government all the time. That's great. As long as I don't talk shit about the Russian government, I'm golden. As long as, like, I can say anything I want, as long as I never criticize the Russian government. By the way, there are no U.S. government-run networks, and there are no U.S. run government networks, certainly, that you're not allowed to criticize the leadership of the U.S. government. I suppose the radios used by the military, talking between branches, perhaps. So anyways, so Lee Camp decided at one point that having Vladimir Putin pay his New York rent was worth it and worked for RT forever. And now that fell apart and he blames the U.S. government for shutting down RT instead of RT packing up its fucking folding up its tents and going back to Russia because they couldn't guarantee that everybody would come out in support of the war, and they couldn't start firing only the ones that, spoke out against their attack on Ukraine. So they just decided to shut the whole fucking thing down. And Lee went, but wait, I would have towed the line. And now he's got his own, I guess he lost leecamp.com in the divorce. But, this is his live stream. This is, did the U.S. just commit a terror attack? It's an hour long. We're not going to do all of it. I want to hear his argument, though, which will probably be in the first 10 minutes.
Thanks for being here. Please take a second to hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, hit the
Gee, and I thought I was awkward doing this.
Share button, all that good stuff.
Why are you blurring out your background?
Massive pipeline attack. And you are not being told everything about it.
Oh, sorry. And this got to be a little bit louder. Massive. Listen to how he says this. Massive pipeline attack.
Hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, hit the share button, all that good stuff.
Sorry.
Massive pipeline attack. And you are not being told everything about it.
Yeah, and we're about to be told everything about it. Let's hear it. I want to hear everything about it. Let's do it. Whoops, I hit the table and it moved the thing. That's fun.
Big surprise. I know, shocking. You were like, the mainstream media's not giving it to all of us?
Oh my God. Finally, someone who will call out the mainstream media. You know, the big sources that are on all the time. Thank God someone has the guts to say mainstream, to speak truth to power.
Not giving us every single detail. How?
Oh, yeah, thank God he's going to give us every single detail. Remember, this is the promise being made.
Could that be? But yeah, so
I'm sure he's going to throw up a graphic right now with every single detail.
We're going to get into this. I'm going to get into several stories today, but
yeah, how will you have time if you're going to show us every single detail about the Nord Stream 1 and 2 leaks, presumably caused by external explosions that were more likely blown up from within, that still no one has proved were attacked. But I'm sure that's just me reading the mainstream media narrative and not fucking Telegram channels from all over the world from both sides and no sides of the argument.
But we'll start off with this massive pipeline attack.
Okay, so that's a fact. You're not being told the facts by the mainstream media. There was massive pipeline attack. All right.
On the Nord Stream 2, which the United States...
1 and 2 were hit. 1 was hit once. There are 2 leaks on 2. I think that's kind of an inside joke with the Russians.
It was we wanted to do anything and everything to stop this, to make sure this didn't happen. And here's the thing: the proxy war is about far
It's a proxy war.
more than just the Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
Of course. Yeah. This is, we didn't, we made Russia attack Ukraine for a lot of reasons. Like the Nord Stream was like, considering especially that Trump was against it, was for it, then he was against it. And then Biden came in to try and do a reset, was like, we'll maybe let it go through on, to benefit Germany. And then Russia fucked around and like, okay, no.
For those who haven't been following it, that's the pipeline that it cost billions of dollars. I don't know the exact amount, but
why read up on it? I thought we were going to have all the facts. Do I have to turn to the mainstream media now? Cost of Nord Stream pipeline. I think I want to go $10 billion was the project cost. 6 billion euros. Offshore project cost 8.8 billion euros at the time. So that's about 10. Let's see, 9.5 billion euros. Let's see. So on the loans from Uniper, Wintershall Dea, OMV, NG, and Royal Dutch Shell covers 50% of the project cost, 9.5, and the rest is Gazprom. So each of them put in 10 billion.
Billions of dollars.
See how long that took me? Fucking mainstream media.
Pipeline between Russia, which has all the energy, right? Energy is a euphemism for planetary death fluid. So
also, it's a gas. It's a gas pipeline, not liquid gas. Aerosol gas in gaseous form. That kind of gas. So no, not liquid death juice.
They have all the planetary death fluid, and Europe's like,
he calls oil planetary death fluid.
We would like all the planetary death fluid. So they made this pipeline. I'm explaining this in very easy terms. They made a massive pipeline. It was about to start between them and Germany and France were some of the big ones. And
yeah, just some of the big ones. It goes straight to Germany.
And even before this, Europe, the EU nations got 40% of their energy. It sounds like someone's giving you like fucking monster drinks or like it's a Red Bull.
I don't know why that's a hang up. I don't know why energy that 46% of their energy came from natural gas. They didn't get 46% of their energy from Russia. 46% of their energy, largely in Europe, and these are broad scoped, were from natural gas, and about 40% or 30%, depending on the country, was coming from Russia or Russian-related countries like Kazakhstan and transiting Ukraine.
Or some like a pipeline.
He doesn't even fucking know. He wouldn't even bother to look it up. He doesn't fucking care. It doesn't matter. He just wants to say like planetary poop juice or something.
With Red Bull coming out of it, but energy.
Again, why is that a mockable
They
term?
got 40% from Russia to begin with. And so the pipeline kind of represented everything that the U.S. fears.
No. We don't want to supply natural gas to Europe. That's the primary story. We really don't. We don't care. The American companies that are involved don't need the gas to come from the United States to be a part of it. They're the technological group that makes it possible to extract it. Also, there are multiple other countries that are primary sources. We, as Americans largely, would rather if the Europeans either got off oil and gas altogether for climate reasons or got what little they did from Kazakhstan or from, the Finnish territories or from, deposits in the Baltic Sea, or quite frankly, from Ukraine if it hadn't been attacked. The United States is not like, it'd really be sweet if we could take all of our natural gas that we could be selling all through, North America and South America, liquefy it, send it over to Europe so that they don't freeze to death, but liquefy it first and then deliquefy it once it gets there and set up a bunch of secondary plants to do both those things, basically like cratering our climate goals in the process.
Which is, we think we own the world, right? Our U.S. government, our ruling class thinks they own the fucking globe. The globe.
I don't know how much this fellow travels. I'm going to go with not at all. Seriously.
Is theirs. And so to have
No, we don't.
Russia and China working and cooperating with other countries like Germany and France.
Is that what was happening? Russia and China were cooperating with Germany and France. And so we triggered a war in Ukraine by NATO expansion or some shit, which didn't happen until Russia attacked. And then that's why we attacked. I don't know what the fuck.
India and Pakistan and
yes, India and Pakistan. We're worried about them working together. That's the United States has to keep them apart.
Coming together.
They want to come together, but we have to get in there and weasel them apart.
And saying, hey, it's actually easier for us to get our energy from Russia because it's closer to us, or we can have a pipeline straight here. Like.
Yeah, that's probably why the Russians shut down the Kazakh pipelines that go to Europe too, which are technically closer to some of these other countries.
All that shit terrified the United States.
No, it didn't. We're literally, oil and gas peaked in 2017. Demand destruction is, hold on. Let me show you this, Olin. This is 2 days ago. Hold on, where is it? Yeah, here it goes. Washington Post. They've been talking about peak oil for a long time, but peak oil has finally arrived. No, really. People always have trouble calling this because it's hard to say, especially with like China and India coming online, which artificially boosted the oil and gas market for, and just the demand went through the roof. Okay. As far back as I when running, okay, this is his backdate. Okay. High hopes. In most analyst scenarios for long-term oil demand, we're within a few million barrels of the peak. These are the amount that they say if this if we reach this point where it's all downhill after this, we don't need it. We're not gonna, because of demand destruction, we're gonna lose it. So let me see if I can find something concise in this, because it's a rather long argument here. So 2021, yeah, peak to trough decline, down 921 in 2020. And the energy demand went here, it was 74% in 1973. In 1980, it was 67.5. In 2006 or 8, that's very small writing on my screen, it was 55.9% of share of demand for energy. It's now 45. It broke the 50 line in 2020. And then once China goes offline because of their own demand issues and their own industry collapse, that's it.
And so terrified,
yeah,
because we're losing hegemony. We're losing ownership of the world.
No, we don't want ownership of the world. We have security interests in the rest of the world trading fairly with each other. We don't need to own it.
So the pipeline was kind of the mascot of that. It's far bigger than that. Obviously, the rise of China is far bigger than.
Don't get me started. Ugh. 我追的就是这个人是追的笨蛋. This guy is a fucking moron. The rise of China. Go to fucking China now, dummy. Now. Right now. And then if you can find a time machine, go back 10 years ago when it was promising. I'm going to get triggered. I'm going to, Lisa, you know it. Because it's fucking, yeah, the rise of Chinese ghost cities.
This one pipeline between Russia and the EU. But it was the mascot. You know, if there were mascots for fucking proxy wars, it'd be Pipey the Pipeliner, right? It represented everything the U.S. feared.
No. No, what we would fear is Russian rape squads and murder teams and the destruction of a democracy that was just getting on its feet.
In terms of global cooperation outside of American...
Yeah, that's what it was. It's that darn cooperation. Not the fact that the big concern about the pipeline was that if they shut it off, Russia's got total control over. They've got material control over European households.
Influence. So here's what just happened to the pipeline.
Okay, we're gonna get some facts finally.
Which had not started operating. The U.S. This proxy war kicked off right at the time that the pipeline was very close. It was finished essentially, and it was going to begin pumping energy to the EU nations. So this is from the New York Times, but
yeah, the mainstream media. Again, every one of these motherfuckers, every single fucking time. The mainstream media, the fucking mainstream medium, the mainstream media is evil, and the evil of the mainstream media. And what sources do they use? The mainstream fucking media.
I'll show you what the New York Times is not telling you in a minute.
I hope so.
Pipeline breaks look deliberate. Yeah, you think? Multiple, by the way, it's multiple at once. Pipelines don't...
Yeah, that's why it said breaks. That's... breaks is plural, shithead.
Explode in multiple places at once by accident. Usually.
Usually? What's the... hold on. Can I... Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here's the usual part. Let's see. Over 2,600 hazardous gas pipeline leaks in the United States have caused more than $4 billion in damages in emergency services, killed 122 people, and released 26.6 billion cubic feet of fuel as methane or carbon dioxide, according to a report released on Thursday. Let's see. These are only the United States ones. Let's see. Pipeline leaks. World's worst. Let's see. I'm trying to find. This is just a WikiLeaks one. Let's go to China, just since he likes China so much. Okay, so here's 2010, the Dalian pipeline disaster, the explosion of 2 petroleum pipelines. What? 2 pipelines exploded at the same time? Weird. And subsequent in the fire in the port of Dalian, one of northern China's Liaoning provinces on Saturday, June 17, 2010, caused fatalities, damages, and an ecological disaster, releasing 11,000 barrels of oil into the Yellow Sea and covering up, according to different sources, from 50 to 430 square kilometers of sea and coastlines. These Sinopec corporate oil pipeline exploded in Huangdao, Qingdao, Shandong province in November 22nd, 2013. 55 people were killed. Coincidentally, India, June 2014, a pipeline, a fire broke out, a farm. I mean, come on. 2011, Nairobi pipeline fire kills approximately 100 people and hospitalized 120. Let's see. Mexico's got quite a few. Here's Nigeria. At Jesse in the Nigerian Delta in Nigeria, a petroleum pipeline exploded, killing well over 500 villagers in 1998, some of whom were scavenging gasoline. Another pipeline explosion near the town of Jesse killed 250 villagers. 100 villagers died when a ruptured pipeline exploded in Wari, A leaking pipeline caught fire near the fishing village of Ibut near Lagos, killing at least 60 people in 2000. 2003, a pipeline puncture by thieves exploded and killed 125 villagers near Umuahia, Abia State. A pipeline punctured by thieves exploded and killed dozens of people in Lagos. An oil pipeline punctured by thieves exploded and killed 150 people at Atlas Creek Island in Lagos State. A vandalized oil pipeline exploded in Lagos. Up to 500 people may have been killed. Day after Christmas in 2006. This one just says YouTube. Shall we? At least 30 people killed in pipeline explosion in southeast Nigeria. That's it. There it is. Boom. And then it's just pouring. That's the river. I don't know why we would want to transition away from this stuff. I don't know why we wouldn't keep some, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't we want this kind of stuff? Just keep using this. Who wants renewables? This is beautiful. That'll do it. Thanks, Sam. Christ, just the mess alone. Yeah, it's just explosion, oil, washing up. Just another day in paradise. Lee Camp's video, let's see how many. It got 21,868 views. 878 rumbles on Lee Camp's video over here. This video I'm sourcing about the explosion. This is African News. It's got 2,700 views. Yeah, I don't know why we would want Europe and everywhere else to get off of oil and gas. You know what I mean? Like, why are we wasting our time?
Pipeline breaks look deliberate, Europeans say, exposing vulnerability. The leaks in the Nord Stream under the Baltic Sea heightened fears of shortages because of the clash with Russia and showed how vital infrastructure could be at risk. And hilariously, a lot of the propaganda has been that, oh, well, Russia did this to themselves. They did this to their own fucking pipeline. And I don't know the reason they're giving for why Russia would do this to their.
I love how informed he is of everyone else's argument. Motherfucker, I know all the arguments at this point. My viewers all know the fucking argument. We look at the other side's argument. This asshole is supposed to be on our side of the argument. And he doesn't even fucking know? Oh, this is Lee Camp. Lee Camp was a host on RT, on Russia Today, for years. He calls himself America's most censored comedian. He's a comedian like Jimmy Dore is a comedian. Neither one of them tour. Neither one of them have any jokes. Their entire show is about clapter, where people go, ah, instead of actually laughing.
Their own pipeline. I guess they're trying to claim this is a false flag, right? Russia blew up their own pipeline to
vent the gas in the sea instead of venting it out through their own facility because the pipeline's never going to open and the gas is trapped in it.
Try and blame the United States, et cetera, et cetera.
Where would they ever find people to help them blame the United States in Western, allegedly left-leaning media? I don't even know why they would even strategize. Well, that's possible.
But what all those media outlets are skipping over, I think, or almost all of them, is that...
Have you read all of them? I mean, you're bringing us mad facts.
Biden actually admitted...
Oh, we're using the same fucking video from where it'll end because we turned off the insurance for it. We refused to allow it to be insured. It's in international water, so no American company can do it, and we'll sanction anybody who's supporting it, so there's no insurance for that fucking pipeline. If they want to rebuild it, the Germans will have to pay for it with cash, or the Russians will have to pay for it with cash, or all the companies that have gotten out of Russia will have to pay for it with cash. That's it. That's how you end it. That's why it never turned on.
That the United States would essentially do this.
No, essentially.
I mean, first of all, I mean, I don't think Russia's got a lot on its plate. I don't think Russians are throwing on a scuba tank and diving down and blowing up their own pipelines.
Do I have to every fucking time? Every fucking time. You attach explosives to a pig. It's programmed to go to a certain spot. There's sensors all along the pipeline. You can put it exactly where you need it, and then you detonate the explosives. It could not be easier. Just saying. You don't have to put on any gear at all. Nobody has to even enter the fucking water. They pigged the fucker.
That it cost billions of dollars to make. That just seems like idiocy. I mean, and even if this was a Russian false flag, what would they get out of it? Like, what would they?
Well, they would get guys like you arguing that we have to stop funding the Ukraine war because it's at a tipping point and we're going to have nuclear Armageddon. And is it really worth it? And all, it's exactly what you get from a false flag. People going, oh my God, the Gulf of Tonkin has been sunk. How do we have to get involved?
They be like, aha, we did it. Like, whereas the United States clearly get something out of stopping the pipeline they've wanted to stop. Like, anyway.
Okay, I thought there was actually going to be a sentence out of it. Like, anyway, it was just a like. It was like a like, but like totally like. It was a totally like.
So here's Biden from several months.
We've seen this fucking clip
ago. This is before the Russian invasion began. And just look at how hard Biden is working to try and make his like face work, like his face with his words, and trying to, and I don't know if it's more the plastic surgery or it's the fucking dementia pills or whatever it is. There's just so much going on in his skull to try and make all the things. It's like an animatronic, like.
Or it could be a very delicate issue and you're trying to put it in a way where you don't want it to seem like you're afraid of the pipeline, but you've got to say what's really going to happen. And you've got 10 different aspects of perception going on at a gathering like that. And you're not just some dickhead guy in his living room blurring out the background like he's on a Zoom call to nowhere.
When like the days of like the first Jurassic Park, they did partial animatronics on some of the shots where it was like, so the eyes of the dinosaur like operated separately from, and they would do that with humans back in.
Okay, first of all, fuck you. The first Jurassic Park was perfect.
In like the 80s and stuff, whenever they had a robot human, and like the mouth always one eye would be going that way and one eye would go this way.
All right. Again, where are these facts parts? Remember, we were promised facts that the mainstream media isn't telling us.
That's what Biden.
Now he's just making like a face joke about a second gen piece of video from Twitter, which apparently is bad.
It's like there's like 7 people trying to control different.
Get on with it.
And
let me answer the first question first. If Germany, if
by the way, a couple of people hit this. Russell did this too when they play this out. Let me answer the first question first. They asked multiple questions. So if you're giving an answer to something, especially a short answer, you're going to have to go through an order. You may have asked 3 questions. And the linguistic tendency when we're talking to somebody else is to talk about the last thing they were talking about. But if you're going through a list of things, you're going to hop back up to the top and go, let me ask you, you could even go, let me answer your second question first, because it's a bigger issue for me. And then I'll answer the other ones. It's fucking normal as hell.
Russia invades. That means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly? Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Again, I also, where's the part where his face isn't working right? Where, I mean, is it because Lee can't look at another human being without projecting? Because he goes to the same spiritual advisor / hairstylist that Russell Brand goes to?
And he's got his little smirk and his little, he did the George W. Bush like eyebrow thing. I don't think I can do with that says like, I'm fucking up the world right here. That's the George W. Bush eyebrow he just did. But here's the thing. If he just admitted that the U.S. will and has a way to stop the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and will do it.
Yeah. Economic pressure. Not allowing it to get insured. There's no way it can afford to survive without the support of American companies. If those American companies are sanctioned, even if Germany cries foul, unless they want to pick up the tab themselves, which they cannot afford to do, they're shit out of luck.
That's what he admitted before the invasion began. And if he were talking about a legitimate way, like not a terrorist act, which is what this is. I mean, bombing a pipeline is a terrorist act. Unless you're trying to stop climate change, and then I'm all for it.
Okay, so there you go. So according to this dickhead, let's see. I guess this would just be the vandalism ones. So according to him, this pipeline fire, which did all that damage that we were showing you, and killed 100 people and 116 were injured. That's okay. That he would be Lee Camp is fine with that. He's okay with that one because those folks were vandalizing the pipeline for allegedly environmental reasons, I guess. Yeah, so let's see. Pipeline accident. Oh, that's pipeline transport. Hold on one second. Where did it go? Oh, it's back on this one. So I have to go backwards to this page. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, it's behind a paywall. Brap. It's real. Yeah. I don't know if maybe he'd be for this one because it's against Israel. Iran sabotaged a pipeline off of the Israeli coast to like cause an environmental disaster, at least according to that's Israel's explanation for it. He'd be for that.
I should go back on my word there. It's not. I don't want to call it a terrorist act because I absolutely believe that damage to property is different than damage to humans, and I think that is a careful discussion that should be had. However, in this case, you've got two nuclear countries going at each other. So when you bomb their pipeline, you are putting this world closer.
Yeah, that's the talking point we've heard from a dozen fucking people. And also, why is he doing the white supremacy hand signal? Why is that? How come? Is he drunk? Probably. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I told you, we're gonna bail out of this. It's an hour long. I'm not doing the whole fucking hour because it's all of that for the whole hour. That's it. Fucking hell. And they're all saying the same thing. We've seen these assholes, dozens of them. And Jimmy Dore and Russell Brand and Lee Camp and Glenn Beck, they're all saying the fucking same thing. They've got the same clips. They've drawn the same conclusions. It's nuts.